Hey everybody, welcome back to the Workman's Whiskey. I'm Bobby. Guys, today's review I'd like to do is Jefferson's very small batch bourbon whiskey. Um, and this is one I've been wanting to review it for a while. I have no good reason for why I haven't. A couple years back, not long after I started these reviews, probably a few months after I started these reviews, my mom and I were in Massachusetts, in both Boston and Salem. And my friend Jenna lives back there with her back then fiance, now husband Scott. And I remember one night we were out shooting pool in Salem, and Jenna told me that one of her favorite whiskeys was Jefferson's, and asked me to review it. Said I would, and for some dumb reason I haven't. Just haven't gotten around to it. It's pretty readily available everywhere I go, guys. So again, for no good reason, I haven't reviewed it. I had it one time. I believe I had a little bit that night. We were shooting pool, and I remember liking it, but it just some whiskeys I don't get around to reviewing for this reason or that. But I saw Jefferson's today. I was out buying some tools for my new job that I'm starting on Monday, and the bottle barn is less than a mile away from the store where I was getting my tools, and thought I'd stop on by and see what they had. Saw that they had Jefferson's small batch here, or very small batch, on sale for $19.99. Left the price tag on for you guys. $19.99. Show you guys the price tag because I've heard some people say that they pay as much as like $50 for this in some states. And $50, I mean that's a lot of money. But for $19.99, it comes with a tumbler, guys. I mean that's pretty cool. And I can always use more glassware, so decided to give it a shot after all this time, and here we are. So yeah, guys, let's see what we have. Jefferson's, just to give you a little backstory, I think they've been around since 1997. They they make no secret that they source their whiskey, which is fine. I mean, we want to see what's in the bottle. I don't really, to be honest with you, I don't care too much who makes it. What Jefferson's does is they source their whiskey. They, I think they get four different kinds of whiskey, bourbon whiskeys, and I think it's 55%. They don't say where they get their whiskey from, but 55% of of what they get is from one, I believe, one barrel or one kind of whiskey, and the remaining 45% comes from the other three. So, in theory, I mean, it is definitely a small batch whiskey. We don't know a whole lot about it other than that. We don't know where the whiskey's coming from, but if it's good, I mean, really, who cares, guys? And in 1999, for a bottle of whiskey and a tumbler, I couldn't pass it up anymore. So let's check this out, guys. All right. Of course, I'm gonna use the tumbler that it came with. My wife would probably tell me to wash it out first, but hey, guys, we're drinking whiskey, and we're gonna kill whatever germs might be in this glass. It's all right with me. All right, and it's got Thomas Jefferson. I'm just gonna toss that down for now. Thomas Jefferson's on the back of the bottle here, and I guess the reason I've always wondered where the Jefferson's part came from. I wasn't sure if it was because I know Thomas Jefferson back in the old days. Thomas Jefferson, George Washington, these guys, as big as they were into politics, they were also some of the biggest whiskey makers back in the 1700s, very early part of the 1800s. I think George died sometime in the early 1800s, and I'm not sure about Tom here, but anyway, they were big whiskey makers, distillers back in the day. So I always thought that maybe this was, based on something from Thomas Jefferson himself. But what this is the guy who started Jefferson's back in the late 1990s. Um, I'm trying to think of his name. Last name's Zoller, I believe. But anyway, he kind of made this whiskey as a tribute to his great great grandmother, who back in the late 1700s, like 1799, she was arrested for the production and selling spirits back then that she was making, and he made this partially for her, and then called it Jefferson's because of Jefferson's kind of interest and curiosity in making spirits. So, kind of a neat little backstory there. So anyway, wanted to try this out today. Again, 1999. I mean, that's a crazy deal, and I hear nothing but good things about Jefferson's. I do hear, again, it's a sourced whiskey, and I do hear that it's fairly light. And these days, I've told you guys, I'm a little bit more into the uh, higher proof whiskeys. But wanted to try this out, and just opening the bottle, guys. I mean, it smells really good. So here we go, and I like that little like the cork there, guys. Oh, sorry about that. Pretty neat little feature. A lot of screw tops these days. Nothing wrong with that either. But the cork is kind of nice every once in a while. So, all right, guys. Not sure what the age statement is on this. They use, again, four different whiskeys. They source this from four different kinds of whiskey, all bourbon. But the bourbons are all, they said, aged for different periods of time, and I believe there are four different mash bills. So, and they do that for complexity, just so they have something that's pretty complex and, just for different flavors and whatnot. So, kind of a cool thing. On the eye test there, I guess you could say, pretty light. It's a gold or kind of a dark straw color there. On the nose, it has a very nice nose to it, guys. I'm getting some you get some light fruit on the nose. You get apples, citrus. You get some like citrusy, you know, lemon peels, orange peels, but definitely that apple. The apple's there, and I also get a little bit of peach there as well. It's not too. I mean, it's sweet. It's got a sweet nose to it, but it's not. It's not so much corn. It's more of that, again, fruit note, um, peachiness, uh, kind of caramely uh, type sweetness to it. Um, Not so much corn again. It's just maybe a little bit of vanilla there, a little bit of honey maybe. Let's take a sip, and it's unique. It's definitely unique. I get a lot of fruit in this one. I get, again, the apples, some citrusy type notes, um, vanilla, honey, Not a whole lot of oak in this one. But it's different. Maybe from having those four different whiskeys that they source from. Um, but it is very complex, um, especially for a whiskey in this price range. I mean, 1999 was like 21 bucks out the door. Very good whiskey here, um, and I got a tumbler, guys. So you guys can find that this same little setup, Jefferson's with the tumbler for 20 bucks. I mean, that's how can you beat that? That's awesome. And again, a little bit of a peachiness there as well. It's funny. It's almost like a. It's funny. I say this because I mean I'm getting a little bit of this, like peach schnapps. I'm not a big fan of peach schnapps to be honest with you, but it's there, but it's subtle in this, and I really like this. This is very very good. I can see this being a good sipper. Of course, I'm going to keep this as a sipper, but I can see it being good for mixing too. Uh, and this is Jefferson's kind of flagship bourbon here. They have several variants of Jefferson's. They have this. They have like a reserve. I believe they have one that was aged in like rum cask, something like that. They have the ocean aged, which if you guys can find that and you can afford it, it's probably. I mean, from what I hear, I haven't had it myself, but I hear it's worth trying out. What they do is they put these barrels of Jefferson's um, on a ship, and they go across the equator, two or three times, maybe even four, and it the barrels are moving and being aged out on the sea, and from what I've heard, you can actually taste that salty air from the sea in the whiskey, which sounds pretty good, guys. I just can't afford the 90 bucks a bottle, $90 plus a bottle out here for that one. But this one here, shoot, if you're like me and you can't afford a crazy expensive whiskey like that, um, some people it might not be crazy expensive, but for me, that's a little out of my price range. Uh, Try this one. Tell me what you think. I think this is a very good, uh, very very good bourbon. Um, it's usually a little more expensive from what I've seen, as I might have mentioned earlier in the review. I usually see this for 25 to say $32. But this again, I got this one with the tumbler for 19.99 before tax, and it's very good whiskey. Very good whiskey. I'm very happy with this buy, um, and I'm gonna rate it out at an 84. 84 out of 100. It's I've heard some people say give it a little bit of a lower score. A few people have given it a little bit of a higher score, but um, I think it's a solid um, uh, B whiskey. Especially at the price for 19.99. This ranks out at a solid mid 80s bourbon. But I'm gonna give it an 84. So, guys, Jefferson's, pick it up if you can find. I mean, I'm sure you can find this somewhere. It's pretty much everywhere here in California, or Northern California anyway. Um, Try it out. Let me know what you think. And that's it for this one, guys. So coming up, I have a whiskey that we've had in the past, but the bottle barn had one bottle left, and this stuff, I swear, is if you don't get it now or in the near future, um, it's either going to go way up in price, kind of like the Wellers did, or it's going to become less and less available. one of the two, or maybe both. So I'm looking forward to talking about that one soon. There's a blended Scotch whiskey that's very readily available that I want to talk about that I have in the cabinet. And I was very, I bought the little teeny weeny bottles because of lack of cabinet space, but had one already because I hadn't had it before, believe it or not, and bought two bottles because I wanted to review one, and it's very good stuff, especially for the price. So gonna do that one soon, and then one that's kind of more for fun. Um, Bacon bourbon, guys. I haven't had it before. I haven't had it in the past. Wasn't sure if I'd ever want to try it, but it's I actually got it when I was in Truckee a couple months back, and been hesitant, kind of hesitant to try it out because I love bacon and I love bourbon. I don't know if I'm going to love bacon bourbon, so we'll see. That might be one of those reviews where I'm just making faces and everything else. So anyway, guys, that's it for now. Hope you enjoyed this one. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. And to everybody out there who usually leaves comments, please leave comments. I love talking to you guys. And that's it for now, guys. Enjoy your weekend. And here's to Jenna and Scott, the ones that mentioned this whiskey to me, Jefferson's to me a couple years back. Glad I finally reviewed this one. And they're having a baby pretty soon, guys. So congrats to Jenna and Scott. And that's it, guys. Have a great weekend. Until next time, cheers.